Hi everybody, welcome to 5 at 6:45. I just wanted to share a few thoughts tonight on peace and what I've been thinking and processing about peace. In 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 22, it has a list of things that as Christians that we need to pursue. Righteousness and a few other things, but one of them is peace. And it really stood out to me that we are supposed to pursue peace. But what is peace? The dictionary and basically the world tends to define peace as what we have when we don't have strife. So it's in the absence of everything else that doesn't cause peace, then we have peace. And so it's sort of like the dregs, it's like the leftover of everything else. When that's all gone, we have peace. But that doesn't work out with what the Bible says and how God says that we should pursue peace and that He brings peace. If it's something that He brings, then it's not something that is just left over after everything else is gone. So, in John chapter 14, verse 27, it says this. Jesus was speaking to His disciples and He said, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid." So He gives us peace, but it's not like what the world says. It's a special peace that comes from Him. And He gives it to us inside, in our hearts, and it can be there regardless of what's going on around us. So it's not dependent on what's going on in the world. If our peace is dependent on what's going on in the world, then chances are we probably don't have it right at the moment. But the peace that comes from Him is it's a confident assurance. It's an assurance that He is in control and that we can depend on Him no matter what is happening around us. All the fear, the worry, the doubt, the uncertainty, the chaos that can happen in the world or in various circumstances that happen in our lives do not need to take over our hearts, because God gives us His peace, and His peace moves in to restrain those things from taking over. God's peace is stronger than fear. God's peace is stronger than worry. God's peace is stronger than doubt. God's peace is stronger than chaos. We can have that peace. But how? How do we pursue that peace? How do we get it? Because it's something that we should be desiring, that we can have, that God puts in our hearts. So in thinking about that, I came across Isaiah chapter 26 verse 3, which says this: "You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you." I'm going to read that again. "You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you." So how can we have peace? We put our mind on Him, whose mind is stayed on you. To me, the idea of having our mind stayed on Him is that we put our attention on God and we leave it there. We put all our focus and our thoughts and our thought patterns and everything on God. And then once we do that, then we realize that He's in control, and we don't need to have our attention on these other things that are trying to get in the way. I also read that verse in the Passion Translation, and I like the way it put it there as well. Perfect, absolute peace surrounds those whose imaginations are consumed with you. They confidently trust in you. Imaginations, well, what do we imagine with? We imagine with our minds. And it's easy to use our imaginations to hear bad news or whatever, and we imagine, oh, this could happen or this could happen, and it can create fear or worry. But instead of that, we put our minds and our thoughts and our imaginations on God, and we leave them there. And so this week, I just just like to throw out a challenge to you to pursue peace. To, when you feel like you're worried about something or things start to get too much, instead of thinking about that, stop and think, I'm going to stay my mind on God. My mind is going to be stayed on God, and instantly put your mind and your attention on God instead of focusing on what is going on around, instead of focusing on the fear or the worry. I've been trying this myself the last couple of days, actually stopping and putting my attention on God instead of thinking about the thing that might be causing concern. And it's incredible the amount of peace that just comes from God, because He puts it there by His Spirit, through His Spirit that He has within us. And so that's my challenge for this week. Let's pursue peace. When fear tries to come in, pursue peace. When worry starts to take over, pursue peace. When chaos is all around us, pursue peace. He will keep you in perfect peace when your mind is stayed on Him. Have an awesome week.